And we're back. Hey, everybody.
We're
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Shoe In Show. We have done this earlier than we've ever done it before, and it's in part because consumers are more fickle, or the economy is more volatile, or trade and tariffs have really screwed everything up more than ever, right? So we're in this weird world. GDP came out this week and it showed a revision where it was like skyrocketing in the second quarter, even though I feel like it's not doing that great. It's just this like weird kind of, I don't know, like Matt, I don't know how to say it, but it just feels weird. It's a weird time.
It is very weird. I mean, Gary likes to talk about on the one hand, but on the other hand, or the glass half full, the glass half empty. Andy, I think you can find a data point to back up whatever your argument is right now. You use the term a lot over the time I've known you, like brackish. I think the economic waters are very brackish right now, and it's hard to figure out what's what, but it feels like we're heading to a little bit more of a cloudy kind of existence economically, if that makes sense.
It does. But all of that to say, like we are launching our holiday survey. This is Matt and I have looked at it really quickly, but not in depth. So this will be kind of fun because we get to actually talk about it a little bit in depth off the cuff, as we like to do. But it's interesting that this year, Matt, people can drink their pumpkin spice lattes while we cover this, whereas in years past, it would have been probably closer to late October when we would be like launching this.
Which is when they do what's the peppermint mochas kick in. So they've pulled off the pumpkin spice lattes and they're hitting us with the peppermint mochas.
But we were guessing, like based on our last conversation that we did with Brian from Alex Partners, there was one key component of that when we were talking about kind of the back to school survey, was the fact that everything's kind of overlapping. Holiday is just overlapping with general normal life, and like things are just like colliding together. And where there used to be 4 seasons, there was then 6, and now maybe there's 8. And it's not even seasons; it's just waves that happen. So I felt like after that conversation, we just wanted to get ahead of this a little bit more, because I know now's the time. Like back to school is just tapering, and at the same time, I know our brands and retailers are starting to look towards the holidays and planning their merchandising strategies. So hopefully this can give them some insight. And again, we work with our partners at Emerson College Polling, and we work with them specifically because their methodology, their sample size is usually about 1,000 folks. And then we narrow that down to who actually says they're going to shop for shoes this holiday season or buy their shoes. So we can get meticulous into that. But frankly, I just trust their methodology and their survey, the way they run it, to get the right results. And whether people like it or not, they also got the election right. So they were one of the few who nailed it correctly. So
shout out to Spencer and his team for the good work that they do on the surveying side, for sure.
Exactly. So every single year we ask, Matt, do you plan on making your holiday shoe purchase online or from a store? So where are we at with the market? Like, where are we channeling? In years past, it's been pretty consistent. Our 2023 and 2024 survey, 43% were purchasing online and shipping to their home. 57% were purchasing in store or picking up from curbside. And it was the same thing this year. It was 44% were shipping or shopping online and shipping home, and then 56% were purchasing in store. So kind of consistent. We always said, like, there's all these prognosticators saying online will eventually be 90% or whatever, and during COVID that really took off. But with shoes, I mean, it goes back to the basics. Like, you want to walk in and put on a pair of shoes and walk out with something that fits.
Yeah, and there's a convenience factor. We like to think that e-commerce is convenient. It is in some ways, but not at all when you can actually go sit and fit, which is critically important for a lot of shoe shoppers. They may buy online. In fact, the vast majority of people have purchased shoes online in their lifetime, but from a fit perspective and not having to return, I think that all of us, most of us, I should say, probably live within a short distance of one of these shoe retailers that we list in this survey. So it's a convenient opportunity to go and buy shoes in person, and then not buy them if they don't fit, or buy a different style or different size.
Yeah. And I should say, if you want to go and download this report, it will be on our website for our members. in our member Intel Center, and we actually have breakouts by. We should have breakouts by like geographic area, incomes, et cetera, so that you can kind of see more meticulous breakouts of these data sets. Another question we always ask is, if you're shopping in store for shoes this holiday season, where are you shopping? What channel specifically in stores? So we ask, large mass retail stores, shoe chain stores, department stores, and then we also added in the past year or so discount stores. So in 2024, large mass stores were 30%. This year it's 34%. So it ticked up. Also, discount stores last year were 8%. It is 10% this year. And that's kind of the biggest shift. So shoe store chains are a little bit down. Department stores dropped 3%, and it's being made up at these mass retailers and these discount stores. And by discount stores, we specifically listed Ross, TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack for those. So obviously people are shopping at Costco or Walmart or Target, and they're shopping more at discount simply because of inflation, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's not a surprise when you see a certain category drop by 4 points and another category within the same question increase by 4 points. We don't have to be a statistician or rocket scientist, Andy, to know that there's some movement into the mass, particularly for value, for affordability, particularly in these increased tariff levels. And as we get into the pricing, we'll unpack this more. We'll be able to back end our hunch, if you will, relative to what we're seeing over concern for pricing and tariffs, et cetera. I will say also this week dropped this report. CNBC had a story on it about just staffing levels for retail, in-store retail for holiday, where we're going to be, according to forecasts, the lowest staffing levels for holiday since 2009, which was the year I started FDRA. This is 16 years ago. It's hard to believe. So that is also kind of another data point out there that this might be a tricky holiday season, and all the more reason for our members to be paying attention to the survey. And then we'll unpack kind of what the strategies that will bring shoppers to stores that will be helpful here in a minute. But a picture, the brackish waters are starting to come a little bit clearer as to what the strategies need to be in this environment.
Yeah. To your point, I think, the seasonal hiring is going to be very minimal. And then it's interesting because for a while we had employees had a lot of power, right? They could say, I want to work from home. I want to do this. And it was a tight labor market. So companies were willing to work within different confines. And it seems like this year, if Jimmy wants to keep his job into January, he's going to have to pick up an extra shift and not really complain about it. So
yeah, Jimmy needs to pipe down and get to work. That's all I got to say. If he wants to hang out and still have his job.
Jimmy cracked corn in Louisiana. Get back to work.
Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Inside joke.
An inside joke. No one will get that buzz, but we run the podcast, so we can do
That's
that.
right.
Where do you primarily shop for shoes online? So we took this and we said, okay, if you chose that you were going to primarily shop online and buy online, we only asked this question to those folks, right? So we segmented it down to this. And this was also really interesting too, because as I pull up the data here from 2024 to now, we asked a retailer's website, like a Nordstrom or Foot Locker. This year was 23%. Last year was 23%. So retailer websites are still doing quite well. Branded website like a Nike or a Vans or a Steve Madden, last year was 32%. This year is 28%. So there's a little less traffic on the brand specific website. This is where the big kind of shift happens. Amazon, and when we combine this, like last year we did Amazon and Zappos, was 34% of buying online. This year it's topping about 41%. Well, there's a clear uptick of 6 or 7% somewhere in there. And again, I think it goes back to price conscious shopping.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the strong gets stronger, I should say. And Amazon, for a lot of our members, maybe not everybody, even who have their own direct to consumer portal or website, their number one channel is Amazon. And so maybe if they're 5 to 10 years ago, there's a lot of intrepidation about working with Amazon. And there may still be some of that in the marketplace with some of our members and companies and brands alike. so many of our companies understand that's where shoppers are going. Just the search function and the comparison pricing alone is a massive drive in traffic and interest and connectivity with shoe shoppers. And so I'm not surprised by this number whatsoever. In fact, you can see Amazon in the marketplace within the shoe industry doing more collaborations, working with other retailers, doing more things to get their name out there to build those relationships. We are a very familial industry, and I think that's because they have a lot of data at their fingertips to help inform our brands about strategies on what's selling and what's not selling. And so they're a massive platform. It's the the century, but they're getting stronger, and this is not a surprise.
Yeah. We also asked, who are you primarily buying for this holiday season?
This one's kind of fun, actually.
It is kind of fun. And it's basically myself, my children, my spouse or partner, extended family. So it's basically where is this for gifts or is this just for yourself? And 63% said, no, just me. We'll have a great holiday season, just me. So it could be I think the biggest driver of the holiday season is going to be toys and things like that, obviously for gifts or whatever, and shoes, fall somewhere within that of a basket of goods. But it's obvious, again, when we talk about like this kind of churn, like during the holiday season, it's just another shopping season for some people who go out and may make a shop for toys or whatever else. And then, oh, there's a shoe store. I'm going to treat myself along the way. Right. So I'll get my peppermint mocha.
That's
and
right.
I'll get my peppermint mocha kicks, and then I'll be happy and I'll feel good about myself that I bought for someone and I bought a little something for myself. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Indeed. I mean, you're speaking my love language there, Andy. I will say that 67% of men plan to purchase shoes for themselves compared to 59% of women. Now, there are two things at play here. I think one, men are just selfish. They buy less shoes. And also, I think women probably have more of the burden of shopping, particularly for gifts for Christmas, for holiday, for their children. I'm not saying men don't do it. I definitely Christmas shop for my family in conjunction in partnership with my wife. But at the same time, it's just kind of hilarious how men are more likely to buy shoes for themselves this holiday season than women.
Yeah, there you go. Another question, and this is interesting. Are you primarily shopping for branded footwear or the best value this holiday season? So it's basically like it's a trick question for the consumer because we're trying to see like how price conscious are you without saying how cheap are you, not to hurt their feelings.
Right.
But so last year was 59% said they're shopping for branded shoes. This year is 61%. So it's interesting because you would imply if they're shopping at more mass stores or Amazon and that seemingly thinks they're more price conscious. If they're looking for branded shoes, basically what that's telling me is it's like they want branded footwear, so they're looking for it. It's got to be the right price.
Yeah, that's 100% true. I think there's an age component to this, right? When you dig a little deeper in the crosstabs, and we pointed out in the survey itself that the younger you are, the more likely you're going to want branded product. And as I age, and then as I hang out more with my dad and my father-in-law, like the who gives a crap kind of mentality sets in as you age, so you don't really care as much about brands. I obviously do because I work in the shoe industry, but having branded footwear is a younger play as far as ensuring that you're cool with your friends and that you're on the latest trends, or maybe you're posting, incessantly to social media. So you want to have good kicks within what you do on social media. So it's not surprised that 70% young individuals are most likely to shop for shoes by known brands at 70%, which was decreases gradually with age to 52% of those over 65. So even if you're the older generation, you still are more likely than not to want to have a branded pair of kicks, but that does decrease as you age.
All right, next question for all the marketers and merchandisers out there. What type of promotion would most likely drive you to make an actual purchase this holiday season? So moving from beyond like looking, shopping, researching to actually taking that shoe to Jimmy Crack Corn at the cash register and putting your credit card and tapping it because no one has cash.
Jimmy didn't quit. Is that what you're saying? Okay,
I hope he didn't.
Tracking.
Listen, if he quit, it's going to be harder next year to get the job at the next store. So
that's true. That's true.
Buckle up, Buttercup. So we expanded it this year. Last year we asked. Last year was BOGO dollar off offer, percent off offer. So last year was 37% BOGO, 38% dollar off, or 25% 20 percent off, so 10%, 15%, something like that to drive a purchase, right? This year we expanded out a little bit. We added free shipping and no promotion. We just said, what are you just going to shop? Doesn't matter if you find what you like, you're going to do it. So this year BOGO was 22%. So we know a lot of stores who do the BOGO, so 22%. The dollar off offer was 26%. And the percent off offer was 26%. So that tells me like BOGO is great, but people are, I think in a price conscious world, they're not going to buy. It tells me they're not going to buy two pairs.
Yeah.
They're going to buy one pair in this environment. And so they're looking for something that would match what they're willing to spend in quantity or, a number of pairs.
Yeah, I agree. Value is more important than volume at this point
Yeah.
from a purchasing perspective.
And 10% said no promotion. They're just going to buy. So we love those people. We like
those people are awesome. Like give them an extra pair for free.
What type of shoes are you most likely to purchase this holiday season? So like what type of shoe? This year, casual shoes at 38%. Last year was 35%. Athletic shoes at 36%. Last year was 42%. So we're kind of seeing a little flip here where people are going a little bit more casual. Fashion and dress is up 4%. And work boots is at 6%. Last year it was 7%. So it's still like right in the range, but it's clearly a shift to more casual, comfortable shoes. But fashion is up. Fashion and boots are up 4%. So it's interesting. I mean, I think my guess is, Matt, people have a lot of athletic shoes in their closet and maybe they're thinking, I need I'm wearing more casual lately. I need more casual, or it's time for some new dress boots.
Yeah, I think this is an aspirational kind of question. To your point, Andy, I mean, some of this is subjective. Like, what is a casual shoe to someone? If you have a pair of Chuck Taylors, and we deal with this in classification. If you have a pair of Chuck Taylors, is that athletic? Is that casual? Does the respondent kind of categorize that in a certain way? Setting that aside, I think a lot of people have sneakers. They continue to have sneakers. They're cross-functional. You can wear them anywhere and everywhere. And so I think there's kind of an aspirational point of that. And that may also be tied to how our respondents feel about prices and price increases and their expectations that they may have plans, but we'll see if those plans come to fruition. I have a plan to buy X, Y, and Z, but because of tight budgets or the lack of a promotional opportunity, because the retailer hasn't provided that to the shopper, might keep me from doing that. So I'll be very curious to see if that ultimately comes to fruition.
Yeah. Here's a question too. It's also kind of aspirational. If you were purchasing a pair of shoes you don't normally buy, so you see it and you're like, oh, those are really cool, and the price or promotion is pretty favorable, would you buy those? Right? Impulse buy. 80% said, yeah, I would do that. If the price or promotion were favorable and I saw something I really liked, then I would probably purchase it. Now, again, that's aspirational to your point. Maybe their pocketbook doesn't have it, but they're willing. So people are looking, which means in-store displays and like highlights and, segments and those kind of things still matter a lot, I think, to drive people when they walk in the door. So will they make an impulse purchase in a tight market? Don't know, but they're willing.
Yeah. Well, it jumps up when it's men. It's 90% for themselves. That variable pushes it almost to 100%. That's actually not in the survey, but
did you answer that?
I did. I was, of course. I mean, you know me, Andy, more than anybody. Of course I did.
That's hilarious. We then asked like a number of questions about speed and convenience in store, easy returns online, elements of surprise, assistance. So like what kind of an experience are people like looking for this holiday season? And this is a little hard to kind of unpack. It's easier if you go to our website and like pull it out yourself. You can kind of see how these kind of break out compared to last year and this year. But, like easy returns are very important to people. Like, most important, ease of return, if they get the wrong pair, like how easy is it to walk in the store and get, my money back or exchange, how easy is it to ship back? So very important, obviously. And it would probably be the same for most of us. When buying in-store or online, how, what's your checkout experience like? That was more medium. It was like, I think people want it fast and easy and without friction, but I don't think there's a problem in our industry of checking someone out. And if there is, then Jimmy Crack Gordon's not going to job for long, right? Like poor Jimmy.
Jimmy, if you're listening to this, send us a note.
He's not listening.
He's not listening
at all. Speed and convenience. Again, it's pretty important for someone to get in and out or online really quickly and make a purchase. So that was pretty high. And that also tracked with last year as well. So that's like very important to people, is like getting in and out really quickly. So clean stores, organized stores, like branded stores where they can hop in and out. Mom wants to go in really quick with the kid, like in and out. So, when buying a gift for yourself, like how important is like assistance from employees. And that again was important, but there was kind of a break. It was like some people thought it was really important. Some people could care less. And it was completely divided this year.
Yeah.
And then last point, how important is elements of surprise and delight. So loyalty perks, special packaging, engaging store experience, maybe even like, getting some promotion you didn't expect, etc. And that, again, kind of split. Some people really thought that was really cool and wanted that, and that was important to them. Some people, again, couldn't care less about some experience in store, clearly like, going in and getting what they need really quickly and efficiently. And if they wanted to return it, they could return it really quickly. So this is kind of where the robots come in.
I think the type A's were like, well, if it's a surprise, how can I even answer the question? Like,
exactly. This is the best question I think to ask. When do you expect to make your holiday purchase? Because this is going to determine when companies start to roll out their holiday sales and marketing, et cetera. But this is exactly why we ran it. We had a hunch. People were going to be looking earlier than ever because they know prices are going up. So they assume in some ways they can control their budget here and now. They don't know what might happen in December. But they think prices may keep going up. And we also asked that. So people actually do expect over the next several months prices to keep going up on a basket of goods. So if they think it's going to be going up in December, it's time to buy now. And it was interesting. Last year we asked, when do you plan to make your holiday purchase? And in 2024, 26% said, I'm going to do it before Thanksgiving. And this year we broke it out. We said before Halloween, which is way early. 16% said they were going to buy their holiday gift or purchase before Halloween, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
And then between Halloween and Thanksgiving, so October 31st to, I don't know, November 24th or 26th, somewhere in there, late Thanksgiving, like November, 32%. So you add those two numbers up, you got 48%.
Yeah.
Before Thanksgiving. I just want to stop there and let people soak that in. Because if you're planning your marketing in November, you need to move it up 4 weeks.
Well, I mean, this is what we saw. Are we still pausing for the sink in, or can I talk?
No.
Okay, I can talk.
I'm pausing.
This is what we saw.
Automatic pause on my end, not your end.
This is what we saw in back to school. You mentioned at the start of this conversation, Andy. This is not a surprise. This is a trend we saw with back to school and holiday and Easter Passover, kind of our three main events for driving purchasing for footwear in this country. And so we're seeing those trend lines hold. And it just tells you when 3/4 of our respondents see price increases in footwear, if they're going to be buying, they're going to go and do it sooner rather than later, because they expect those prices to continue to go up.
That's right. And so I'm gonna jump down because I'm gonna bring this up, because this is why half the shoppers.
Is that like a burpee? You're jumping down to come up? Is that what this is?
That's right. Exactly right. I'm just a frog. So I'll drop down in the survey because it explains why 50% are going to buy before Thanksgiving, according to our survey.
Yeah.
And my guess is, if the economy is better than we think it is in some way, and people still kind of come out of November and feel good, maybe we get two, right? Maybe they bought before Thanksgiving, and then maybe towards the end they're like, oh, I don't have enough, I'll buy another. So hopefully there's a double wave, right? That'd be amazing. Can we have maybe we'll brand that like a double wave holiday sales period. But companies should expect that. Maybe that's where the loyalty program really makes a benefit, where they're going to buy sooner than you think, and then the only way to drive them back in the store is to have some great promotion for those people who've already bought. So catching the second wave to sell the second the next pair of shoes in some way. So that's where databases and kind of consumer intelligence is really important to have conversations extended outside the purchase into bringing them into the next purchase. Anyway, we asked the question, have you noticed an increase in footwear prices over the past year? 76% said, yes, I've noticed an increase in price. So that, and then we said, do you expect footwear prices to rise over the next several months? And that, again, is leading into how soon they may purchase. 29% said, yes, I expect footwear prices to rise a lot over the next several months as these tariffs fold in. 47% said, yeah, I expect it to go up a little bit more than it is today. 9% said, no, I don't think it'll go up much more. And 15% just had no clue that there was prices at all. They thought that we were still in a barter system as an agrarian economy. So that 15% I'm kind of worried about. But again, 29% say, yeah, I expect footwear prices to go up a lot in the next couple of months. 47% said, yeah, I expect it to go up a little. So if you think it's going up a lot or a little, why wouldn't you purchase now to lock in the price, right? And then for all our trade people, like, why do you think the prices are rising? And this is more for our own efforts with lobbying and efforts on behalf of the industry. But we kind of asked this question. It was curious because we didn't want to the survey, we don't want to push people in one direction. So we kind of left this open-ended. And we said, what do you think is causing prices to rise? Tariffs, inflation, both, or something else. So obviously inflation, tariffs are part of inflation. And we know that. But we wanted to ask it broadly just to see and give maybe MAGA may see tariffs and may like them, and we wanted to give them an out, right? We didn't want to pigeonhole them to say tariffs are bad or good or whatever. We just wanted to see what they actually thought. And so nearly 25% said tariffs are causing the footwear prices to rise, so a quarter. 25% said inflation. And then 45 to 50% basically said both tariffs and inflation. So what that tells us is most, a quarter people think tariffs are the main driver of prices, but 50% think that tariffs are a large component to it, meaning like quarter thinks tariffs are the sole reason or the biggest reason why prices are going up. And then half of people think it's because it's a driver of inflation as part of other things that may be happening, but it's still important, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's it's a continued shift as people get educated about trade and tariffs and prices that they see in the marketplace. And I think all the news stories that talk about this stuff are starting to break through more than the president's narrative that prices wouldn't be going up. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it's the consumer smart, and we've said this for a long time. I've heard for years consumers don't understand. They're kind of blind to these issues, and that may have been true 5 years ago, Andy, but they are highly educated now. We see this survey after survey. They do attach increases in costs to tariffs in some form or fashion, even if they don't think it's the primary reason. And so I'm always, while discouraged by the outcome of the trade policy we're currently under, I am encouraged by the fact that shoe shoppers get it. And they will vote with their dollars. And that's what's making all of us nervous. That's why we've been telling the administration consistently, if the president's mandate was to lower prices on day one, this is not how you do it.
Yeah.
And they seem more inclined to want to raise revenue more than anything than to tamp down on prices.
Yeah. Another question we asked is, what's the total amount of money you plan to spend on footwear purchases this holiday season? This year looks a lot like 2023. So as I look through the survey and I kind of compared it to 24, I look back to 23. It looks very similar on a lot of different questions. So if you're planning to say like, what's our comps this year, you might want to look at 23 as a key analysis point of where your sales may be this year, because the consumer seems to be in the same spot they were in 2023 in terms of purchasing and decision making. But again, total amount less than $100, about 39%. And in 2023 it was 40. In 2024 it was 30. Between $100 and $250 this year is 44%. Last year it was 46%. In 2023 it was 45. So that kind of tracks. The biggest shift has happened here is a higher level of spending. $250 to $500 as a total basket of goods that you're going to buy, not just one pair, but multiple pairs, is 12% this year. Last year was 18%. So that dropped 6%. So people are becoming more cost conscious and saying, you know, I'm shifting my spending down. And in 2023 is 12%. So it matches perfectly to 2023.
Right.
And then spending more than $500 on shoes this holiday season this year is 5%. Last year was also 5%. So the biggest shift is that the $250 to $500 purchases, which probably is 3 or 4 pairs, depending on where they're shopping, maybe 1 or 2, depending on the type of shoes. But clearly, like, that more wealthy shopper that might have those extra dollars is not going to buy the extra pair this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hate to say that we're surprised by this, but we shouldn't be. It's exactly kind of where we think we're headed. And it kind of it aligns with other data points out there on holiday hiring, right? And so the retailers across product categories are seeing this in real time and making these decisions. So our hope is that our members who digest this, either one already knew this was coming and already adjusted, but if not, it's not too late. There are opportunities to find promotional, I think, angles to bring in shoppers at a critical time. You got to do this sooner rather than later, as half are going to shop before we even get to Thanksgiving.
I know, which is crazy.
I mean, Amazon Prime Day is October 7th and 8th. It was the same last year, but they know it too. They got it too. So they're cranking that up, you know, early October.
I think that goes back to my double wave theory, right? Like that might drive people to purchase now and think about like holidays and trying to stock up on gifts ahead of time before prices rise. But if the economy is okay, maybe in December they're feeling good, or maybe they just want to get out of the house because their in-laws are in town and they're just like, I'm done with this. Like, I want to go shopping and buy something and feel good. Shoes are a great option because they're a hell of a lot less than a washer dryer, right? So it could be a double wave this year, hopefully. But I think you got to prepare for that. And I would think about this too, Matt. Like, it's almost 2 marketing campaigns in one season. There's a and people kind of do this, but not really. But it's a pre-Thanksgiving, like October. It may be 3. It may be October, November, and then December. It's 3 different marketing campaigns promoting different things at different times in different ways. So it's becoming a lot harder, I think, not just for attention, but executing the right promotions in the right way so that you're getting as much money as you can. You're selling, but you're also selling your inventory. You're not like stacked up against it in January. So
yeah.
And then the last question kind of covering is compared to last holiday season, do you expect to spend more, less, or about the same? And this kind of track very similar. It was, 27% expect to spend more, 20% expect to spend less, and then 45 to 46% think they're going to spend the same. And it's a hard one to know because if you got inflation coming in, people may just say, I plan to spend more because it's going to cost more. So it's kind of a tricky question to unpack.
Yeah, tricky. It's tricky to rock a rhyme that's right on time. It's tricky, says Run DMC, as is this question.
Interesting. Yeah, it's really tricky. I just want that. I want to let that sit there too.
Yeah, let him
yeah, so that's it. So kind of key takeaways as we kind of wrap up this podcast. And again, you can go to our website and download the full report that we have there on FDRA.org and the Member Intel Center. But I mean, I'm not shocked, but it is very surprising that we have this holiday season that keeps extending, right? It's almost like as soon as back to school ends, we're almost in holiday shopping mode. Yeah. And again, like, I think Amazon's trying to drive that, right? Like, but I think the consumer's driving it this year because they're worried about price increases in December.
That's
so
right.
It's different. So the extension of the holiday season is by the consumer. It's not exactly by companies being greedy and trying to sell more, right? Like, so I think it's just different this year, my opinion.
I agree, man. I agree with it.
Fine.
Good job.
I get someone to agree with me today. So now I can go upstairs.
It's all downhill from
Emily, and they'll all disagree with me. So you've boosted me up. Like, now I'm on a high.
That's what brothers are for, man.
Exactly. I can go level off upstairs in a minute and get real feedback.
That's right.
Folks, as always, shoeandshow.com is our full list, our full catalog of episodes. I should also say, in addition to our holiday survey, we do weekly surveys, so we can actually see in real time where the market's shifting, both e-commerce and brick and mortar. And we're the only ones who have that availability. That's actual real data that we can track and produce for companies to keep track of things. And in addition to a number of other reports, and I should say, in this kind of weird and wild world as we enter the holiday season, it behooves everyone that's a member to be on our Tuesday call at 2 p.m. If you can't make it, we record it and bank it where you can follow it. But every Tuesday, you can see our economist Gary kind of outline what's happening in the market, both in terms of footwear market at the micro level, as well as the economy at the macro level, like looking at how much spending someone may have in their pocket, how much debt they may have, housing issues, things like that. Everything that kind of drives our consumers here in the U.S. And we also look overseas as well. But it's critical more than ever as we kind of have these extended holiday seasons and weird and wacky consumer behavior. Sometimes no rhyme or reason to it. Just to stay close to FDRA and just keep an ear out for what's happening, and obviously fold it into what you're seeing from your own customer and data. But appreciate the folks who do join. Our numbers are some calls are close to 200, some calls close to 400. It just depends on
for sure
what issues are up there. So 200 to 400 executives, a lot of engagement on that because of the value of the content. So with that, I'm gonna go out and grab some coffee myself. I don't do the pumpkin spice. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, when Jimmy Crack Corn's making your pumpkin spice latte, I mean, maybe you'll like that one.
Well, if he was making, I'd definitely show up just to see it, just to see him work hard. That'd be a first, wouldn't it?
Poor Jimmy.
Anyway, folks, Shoe and Show, new episode Monday. Until then, have a great one. Shoe In is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.